And in John chapter 7, after Jesus has taught in verses 15 through 18, the Jews looked and they were astonished, saying, "How has Jesus become so learned, having never been educated?" And Jesus answered them and said, "My teaching is not mine, but him who sent me. If anyone is willing to do God's will, he will know that the teaching is of God, or whether it's speaking for myself." And he says, "He who speaks for himself seeks his own glory." Jesus goes on in the Gospel of John to say this over and over in John chapter 8 and John chapter 14 and John chapter 16, that he did not come to do his own will, but he came to do the will of his Father who sent him. He came to submit himself in obedience to his Father's will. That's why Jesus could say in Mark 10:45, "Even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many." Because he was submitted to his Father's will, he said, "I didn't come to have people serve me. I came to serve other people." It's why that in the worst moment of Jesus' life, when he's at his trial and he's being beaten, Peter records in 1 Peter chapter 2 that Jesus continued to entrust himself to God who judges righteously. That no matter what was happening in Jesus' life, his only thought, his only plan, his only desire was to do the will of his Father. Even when things were hard and difficult, even when it was time that many people would run away and hide, Jesus says, "I'm going to continue to follow God's plan for my life." Because Jesus was submitted to his Father's will, he was confident that God would vindicate him at the end, that God would take care of all the things at the end. It may not be enjoyable in the moment, but in the end, it was going to be okay. And that's the freedom that we can have in our own submission to God.